Good afternoon, and thanks for tuning in for our live broadcast of SMTV on this Wednesday afternoon. I'm Duncan Gilman.
I'm Willie Kelly.
And later today we'll be talking to an entrepreneur who's using social media to build his business. We'll talk to the CEO of JuiceBlendz, Adam Ogden, and find out how he's doing that.
If you have questions or an idea about your social media projects you'd like to discuss on the broadcast, email us at questions@splashmediau.com, or you can tweet them to us using the hashtag SMTV questions.
First, we'll talk about a little social media news from the last couple of days. Coca-Cola hit a record, became the first consumer product to hit 50 million fans on Facebook. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's outstanding for them. Personally, it comes as not a huge surprise to me. I know they invest a lot of time and money into maintaining the value of their brand. And, this just goes to show that they're sticking with that method. It's worked for them for generations. And I'm glad to see them pushing that into new media so dominantly.
Right, and so to give our viewers an idea of where they stand compared to other consumer products, pages like Starbucks, Converse, Disney, those are all huge brands on Facebook, but they all are just creeping up on 40 million. So to have 10 million more than that is pretty significant. And I think if you had to guess, if we had a multiple choice, who would get there first, I think Coca-Cola probably makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Take 4 parts customer service, 3 parts nutrition, 2 parts taste, and a dash of moxie, then blend until smooth. That's how JuiceBlendz describes their recipe for success. But how does social media fit into that recipe? Recently, I had a chance to interview the CEO of JuiceBlendz, Adam Ogden, via Skype, and ask him that very question. Adam, welcome, and thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Duncan. It's good to be here, and really excited to talk with you guys.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Well, I wanted to find out from you, was social media always a part of your strategy? How did you incorporate that, and basically, was it there from the beginning?
I don't want to say it was always a part. I mean, we knew that, going into business and, we sell smoothies and fresh fruit smoothies, juices, and yogurts. So I think our customers really dictated, our, demand for it. And, knowing that in order to be competitive, there's a lot of really big national brands out there that we're competing with. We had to have a competitive advantage. So, I've always been tech savvy and just, really enjoyed technology. And, I think early on, we realized that this was a great way to, to coupon and, to get our product in front of consumers. And, we knew that going online was a very, very important part of our business. So, from day one, we initially set up websites, which, then led to Facebook pages, which then, led to, tweeting and Instagram and all different types of things for the companies.
Speaking of those pages themselves, we talk a lot about how brands need to make social media more personal. And you personally have a huge following on Twitter, more than individually either of your brands, JuiceBlendz or JuiceBlendz. So how does that affect customer interaction and customer service when the CEO is out there tweeting and engaging?
Well, it's great. It's been awesome. What's good and bad. It's bad that people have access to me and I have to read some of the things they say about me or my brands. When you're out there doing good things, obviously it exposes you to a lot of different people. So one of the things that we initially did, which I thought was pretty cool, we did an Ask Our CEO campaign. Anything basically on the homepage of our website, JuiceBlendz.com. The consumers can actually go on there and click and it has a FormSpring account where they can directly ask questions that actually really do go to me. The challenge with that of any major brand out there is that you get tons of questions, questions related to the brand that some are good, some are bad. I had a really funny question the other day. They asked, is that a shark fin on your head, or do you use gel to make your hair look that way? And it really got to me. I started laughing. But it's been great because sometimes I'll hear customer service complaints or quality control complaints or issues with an employee. And as much as a lot of information comes in, I have someone that assists me in checking it. But I physically do see the emails and that are coming in, so I'm able to stick them in an inbox or a folder. But I will glance at them from time to time on my phone, or seeing them coming in as I'm reading my regular emails. But it's been great. It's been awesome, and it's really put me in touch with the consumer. And I feel that in order for our brand to be more successful, we've really got to be in touch with the consumer. And I was telling some of our staff today in a management meeting is that we really got to focus more on working in our businesses or making our in-store sales more successful, and spend more time focusing on the customer experience. And we would never be able to do that. We'd never be able to know to do that if, we didn't have such a big online presence and have such a, an interaction with our consumers. So, I always encourage any key management of any brand, is to see the emails and see what's coming through on the brands, because if you shelter yourself from that, you really don't have a good pulse on the system and the success of the business or the failures of the business. So it's been a really great thing, and I encourage a lot of brands, whether you're promoting yourself as a brand or you're promoting your company, or if you have a product or a service, just to be out there and really interact with your consumers at that next level.
I'm glad you mentioned the Ask the CEO part of your website, because one of my favorite questions from that part of the site is, what is your favorite smoothie? So I was wondering if you could share your answer with us and how you came up with it.
Well, my favorite smoothie is actually the peanut butter and jelly, and the reason is when I was a little kid, I loved peanut butter and jellies and a glass of milk. So, obviously I'm into health, I'm into working out, training, and, we have really healthy smoothies and we have really bad, smoothies for you as far as calories and things like that. So, of course, mine is the peanut butter and jelly, which has the highest calories, the most fat. It's got loads of peanut butter in it, a lot of strawberries, skim milk, and it's really, really good. So that's kind of how, we came up with it. I actually came up with it in my college dorm room, while I was going to school and developing my menu. And I started out, when I was in my early 20s, developing, the menu, which was for one of my first smoothie brands called Health Stop. So that's kind of how I did it while I was at a very young age, and loved the taste of the actual smoothie. It was more of a milkshake versus a smoothie, but now it's a smoothie.
Adam, thanks so much for joining us, and good luck with everything this year. You can find out more about JuiceBlendz on their website, or you can follow Adam on Twitter at AdamOgdenCEO. Now's the part of the show where we answer questions that our viewers have sent in during the week. Our first question is from Harris, who would like to know, how far in advance should your content plan go?
And I mean, that really, honestly, is a pretty variable question based on the company. You need to really do your content plan based around your overall marketing calendar. If you have your marketing calendar planned several months or even a year out in advance, you can go ahead and plan, 6 months, quarters at a time for your social media. And you also need to take into account your production schedule. If it takes, a month to get a blog written, approved, edited, you need to take that into account and plan accordingly and plan out further. But if you're the type of company that does month-long marketing plans and you can pop out blogs in 24 hours or less, you could probably do well with a week-by-week content plan for your social media. It just all depends on how you can best integrate it with your company and your overall marketing strategy.
Those are my favorite kind of companies, the ones who can pump out a blog in 24 hours or less. I love
That's
that.
right.
And I totally agree. And I think that first part of the formula, your own marketing calendar, is pretty important, because if you're the kind of business that has seasons, you want to take those into account in your content planning.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about just full integration.
And of course, a little plug for our resource section. We've got some great content planning resources in the resource tab of the Splash Media U website. So it's easy to get to. Resources up here, and then just scroll down. We've got some great content planning files, like a template and a brainstorm. So take a look at those.
Samuel wrote to us, how long should a blog post be, and what's considered too long?
Samuel, I think once you get to the 600 or 700 word threshold, I think that is the time you want to split it up into two parts of a series of posts.
Absolutely. 300 is, a pretty ideal range. It's short, quick, to the point, and then you do get the additional value in breaking things into multiple blog posts, being the extra SEO traction, additional pages within your blog or website. So there's a lot of value into doing series as well.
And if you're lacking content, you can always come back at the end of the year and do a recap, the top 5 blogs by popularity, and do some content that way, integrate it in addition to the actual post.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great way to also just keep your users engaged and remembering everything that you've done over the past couple months.
Right. Corey wants to know, should I follow companies on LinkedIn?
I absolutely think you should.
I do too, yeah.
It's a new developing feature on LinkedIn. They've had the pages for a while, but they've been adding a lot of functionality lately. And I think that by following other companies, you're encouraging people to follow your own company, as well as get new ideas and see what others are doing, particularly others in your industry, to keep you kind of on that cutting edge.
I love the idea of following in order to stay on top of what's going on in your industry, because we have the same advice for Facebook and Twitter, and even if they're competitors, there are other ways to kind of keep track of what they're doing without kind of being a spy for your company. But I also love the new features that LinkedIn has rolled out for company pages, things like the banner across the top and specific videos for the product and services tab, where you can really define each of these and specialize and get people to stay on LinkedIn, not have to leave necessarily. They've got a lot of information here and keep them interested without having to go back and forth between websites.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I also think one of the best new features on the pages is the company status.
Oh, yeah.
Allowing you to be able to get into the newsfeed of people when they're regularly on LinkedIn, just as you would with a personal status, and much like a Facebook page or a Twitter account from the company.
Yeah, great feature.
Stephanie emailed us, is there a minimum number of connections I should strive for in LinkedIn?
I don't know if there's a minimum you have to have, but the goal, I think, to have 500 as your goal, I think is a good thing to strive for, because once you reach that 500 number, that's when you sort of level the playing field, because once people connect with you or they see your profile on LinkedIn, they'll just see 500 plus. So you don't necessarily know if someone has 20,000 or 50,000, you'll just see 500 plus. So it's a nice way of leveling the playing field once you can get to that number.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the connections are connections. Those are people you can message at any point.
Right.
Should you be engaging in a new venture, new industry, or just a new project within your company, you may remember, oh, I've seen this company out there. Let's see if I am connected to anyone in those companies, and now you can reach out to them directly. So as long as you're connecting to real people and confirming that those are actual accounts, there is no limit. The sky's the limit, and it can't hurt you to have more, really.
Yeah, and I think we see less concern there than we do on sites like Twitter, where is this a real account, is it not? And a lot of people want to make sure that when they connect to someone on LinkedIn, they do actually know the person. So it's very important when you're reaching out to send somebody an invitation to get to that 500, whatever your goal may be, to make sure that you personalize each of those invitations. Make sure you mention, we have this group in common, or I saw you, last week at the trade show. Make sure that they have a reason to click yes and not, I don't know this person.
Yes, absolutely. That's a key thing is keeping it human. That's a big thing that
across all social media,
across all
important.
platforms. Yeah, because people are worried about spam bots and viruses and all of the mess that comes with everything involved with that. So the more you can prove that you're a real person, the more success you're going to have in general.
Absolutely. That's going to do it for today. Thank you for joining us today for our live broadcast of SMTV.
Remember, if there's something that we can help you with, don't hesitate to contact us or submit your questions.
For Splash Media, I'm Duncan Gilman.
And I'm Willie Kelly. Have a great day.